Hi guys, welcome to the FA Cup review of the quarterfinal game between Chelsea and Manchester United. And as a United fan, I have to say I'm gutted with the result. And more than the result, I'm disappointed with the manner of it. Great fight showed by United, especially in the second half, while defending with a backs to the wall performance against a really good Chelsea team. They've been dominating the Premier League and they dominated the game today and they completely deserved the win. However, the manner in which it came about has to be frustrating for a United fan. We have to talk about it, the sending off of Ander Herrera. On first look, it looked a little harsh, especially the first foul where Herrera just seemed to stand in Hazard's way, but he did know what he was doing, but a yellow card seemed a little harsh. And the second one was a foul, and Herrera paid the price for being a little too naive, given that the referee issued multiple warnings because clearly the United players were targeting Hazard. He was the best player in the first half and probably. Uh, and it kind of felt like that was the game plan. Get tight on Hazard, don't give him the space. But it didn't really work out because Hazard had these excellent first touches, which he used to get away from the players who were backing in on him. And it proved really difficult for United to deal with. And the only way they were able to stop him in that first half was with a great save from De Gea, firstly, and then with these small niggly fouls, which were bound to, accumulate to something bigger than just free kicks in the end. And United and Herrera paid the price for that. Um, Overall, I would say that Chelsea would have won irrespective of the red card. It felt like it. United came out clearly to they set up to defend. They had almost six players at the back. It was a very narrow back four with Damian almost being a centre back, and you had Valencia and Young who were tracking back a lot as well. Rashford provided the outlet so that maybe if there was a chance somewhere United could break at them with pace. Chelsea pretty much the standard lineup which they've played in the Premier League. One notable exception was that Willian came in for Pedro. Conte seems to do that when he thinks that the game is going to be a little more physical. The same thing with Matic playing instead of Fabregas. But they United really didn't pose too much of a threat for Chelsea. Chelsea was comfortable in possession in the first half, even up until the red card. The only thing that remained to be seen was whether United could how long United could hold on, and whether they could nick a goal at the other end. But the moment the red card happened, that all changed because Mourinho immediately was forced to bring Mkhitaryan off and bring Fellaini on. And Fellaini pretty much replaced Herrera. It was a like-for-like substitution. And instead of having two players as an outlet for attack, United had just one, Rashford. And towards the end of the first half itself, Rashford seemed to be tiring a lot. And it took a lot out of the United midfield and defense in keeping Chelsea out in that first half. Chelsea was pretty comfortable. They waited it out. They wanted to see how United were approaching the game. The first 20-25 minutes, it was Chelsea playing a very patient game, and United trying to not give Chelsea time on the ball and committing a lot of fouls. After the first half, it was obvious that in the second half, Chelsea would come out looking for the result. United were down to 10 men, and the United's game plan basically was somehow don't concede a goal till 90 minutes, because they didn't even bother trying to have an outlet for attack anymore. Rashford was tracking back as well, and he was in fact playing on the left wing for a big chunk of the game. I do feel that the United defense deserves a bit of credit because although they were playing right on the edge, it was a backs to the wall performance. They showed a lot of fight. People like Ashley Young and Marcus Rojo especially, they put in the tackles when they were required. They took the gambles. They took the 50-50 risky challenges, which could have gone horribly wrong, to be fair. Valencia went in with a two-footed lunge, and I'm reading that Rojo could be in trouble for a suspension for a stamp on Eden Hazard. But you have to give it to Chelsea. They stuck by their game plan. They kept going at it. And for large chunks of the second half, it was just all Chelsea. They recovered the ball well. And except for that one Rashford chance and a Pogba snapshot towards the end, they weren't in trouble. And to be fair, I think that even if Rashford had taken that chance, which he really should have, given the amount of work he did to create it, I feel that Chelsea would have come back and scored another. And given the fact that there aren't any replays this year for quarterfinals, it does feel like it did feel like Chelsea would either go on to score more goals in normal time, or even if it went to extra time, they would be favourite against a tiring United defence. Overall, you have to commend the performance of N'Golo Kante. He really held his own against a player almost twice his size as Paul Pogba. The first half an hour, the midfield was a pretty even battle. But once the fouls started accumulating for the United players, and once the sending off happened, I feel that Chelsea just dominated the midfield. And you, in fact, saw Azpilicueta getting a lot more forward, taking those shots. And that's the same thing which happened with N'Golo Kante. As soon as he got the ball at the edge of the box, the most obvious thing to do was play it out on the right. United defense thought he would do. Pogba kind of backed off, and Rojo didn't close in either. And De Gea, in fact, even took a step to his left, and that's what made the ball go just out of his reach in the far post. It was a great shot, and he probably would be man of the match if not for Eden Hazard. Hazard, he loves being fouled. You can see it. He loves the fact that the opposition targets him, and he thrives off such situations. Costa too. He loved the conflict with Rojo, and he came off. He didn't contribute as much as he usually does in attack, but he was that niggly person who was annoying United defense throughout. He had a free header of a corner, which he really should have taken, and you felt that if Chelsea scored a second, the game was basically done. So United were just waiting till the 80th minute or so to, actually try putting some balls in. Frustrating that United didn't actually, have any period of time where they were, dominating or trying to score. At the other end, there was no all-out attack towards the end. It has to be said that this was simply because Chelsea was so solid and they didn't let United get into a position where that could happen. And I would say that Mourinho did what he could. He set the team up in the right way. When the teams first came out, it looked like a 3-4-3 trying to mirror Chelsea's formation with Valencia and Damian as the wing backs, with young Rashford and Mkhitaryan front three. But it turned out to be a much more defensive system, which you can't really blame him for putting out, because Chelsea were in fact expected to go out and take the initiative and try scoring and try winning at home. There was an incident off the pitch on the touchline between Mourinho and Conte where things got really heated between them after the sending off. And both of them are very passionate managers, and there's no real surprise that you could see that. You could see it with the way Conte celebrated the goal as usual with the fans, showing a lot of passion there. And I don't think Mourinho will sulk too much after this defeat. It's probably a blessing in disguise. The FA Cup run was always going to be the least preferred and the hardest out of the three competitions that are left for United. And he'll probably be relieved to get out of it, but he won't really comment on the referee decision too, I feel, because it's a good point for the United players to actually look at it and say, we put in a good shift. It's also really useful that the red card happened. They can have a sense of injustice and take it from here and think we showed a lot of fight in the second half to get and in fact, everyone would have thought that after this first goal coming so early in the second half, especially, that Chelsea would run right after that in the counter. But United defense did really well to keep it down to 1-0. We go from here. Quite clearly, they'll be targeting the double. The league is almost certainly in the bag. It's theirs to lose right now. And there's just two more games in the Cup at Wembley. Spurs is their next opponent in the semi-final, and they don't really have a good record at Wembley. And I'd say that Chelsea are the favourites for that game. And if they go into the final, whether it's against Arsenal or City, I think they won't be fearing any opposition at this stage. And they can, in fact, concentrate on the FA Cup a little when it comes to it, because even though they still have some work to do to retain the league, they're 10 points clear, and there's around 11 to 12 games left for all the teams, and they should really be sealing it right now. And Conte will be really happy with the performance of his team, and it's just another shift for them. It's the 13th consecutive win at home at Stamford Bridge, and it's all clicking together. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Chelsea do another double. For the review of the game, gutted as a United fan to be going out of the FA Cup, but could probably be a good thing in the long run, as getting into the Champions League is probably the most important thing for Mourinho. And if he does that with another trophy in form of the Europa League, that would probably keep the fans happy for another season, where he's surely probably expected to put in a title challenge in the league next season. So that's it for this video. Drop in a like if you like the video, and subscribe if you're new. All right, see you later.